Welcome to the 30th annual induction for the United States Bicycling Hall of Fame. My name's Bob Bowen. I'm the president of the Bike Hall of Fame, and our community started hosting these inductions in Davis in 2008. The Hall of Fame and Museum opened in town at our beautiful Central Park in 2010. So you'll be hearing about the many accomplishments of our distinguished inductees shortly, but our primary sponsor for our site where the museum is the city of Davis, California. So now I'd like to bring up and welcome the bike riding mayor of the city of Davis, the Honorable Rob Davis.
Well, thanks for coming. Arguably, we're here because of bikes. You agree with that? Well, okay. We're here to honor people who have done amazing things on bikes, but they couldn't have done those amazing things without bikes. So when I get a group like this together, and I want you to humor me a little bit here, I ask a question, and I'd like you to respond to it. When I am on a bike, I feel. So close your eyes. When I am on a bike, I see some of you closing your eyes, some of you are not closing your eyes. Close your eyes. When I am on a bike, I feel. Okay, let's hear it. I feel. Huh? No, wait. We got to have a little order here. Invincible. I heard great. What? Free. Good. More. Tired. I know the feeling. What was that one? Powerful. Others? Couple more? Young. Oh, I love that one. Good. When I'm on a bike, I feel. I mean, don't you love it? And just look at what happened when I asked that question. You were smiling. You could feel the breeze. You could feel the freedom of when the first time your parents let you go somewhere on a bike alone. You might have been only 7 years old. Pretty amazing. Now, if I ask a question differently of our inductees, and it might be the question something like this, and I'm not going to ask you to respond. When I'm on a bike and I do something I have never done before, when I've set that personal record, when I've gone and done things that I didn't know my body could do, when I've gone a distance that I've never gone, when I've broken a record that I didn't think I had a chance to break, how do you feel? I bet you feel gratitude. I bet you feel calm. I bet you feel hope. A deep sense of accomplishment that is yours alone to hold. I bet you feel pride. And I bet a lot of times you've felt surprise. I've cranked up a few hills. Last summer I rode through Colorado, Vail Pass, Berthoud Pass, Rocky Mountain National Park. And every time I do something like that, and I'm struggling, and my lungs are bursting, I think of what you guys do, and the apparent ease with which you do it. And I just can't believe that humans are capable of that. I tell myself, they're just genetic freaks. But that's just my way of saying I don't understand the commitment that it takes to do what you've done. The stick-to-itiveness, the persistence, the striving towards certain goals. It's a beautiful thing for us to see. And so, quite frankly, I'm in awe of you guys. I think we all are. So welcome to Davis. Now, I'm not going to rehearse all the great things about our biking town. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. 27,000 people come to this campus every day. 27,000 people come to this campus every day. Half of them come by bike. 25% of our residents, and I'm proud to say I'm one of them, commute by bike. Almost 30% of our kids and over 35% of our junior high kids bike to school. Now, maybe we're not Denmark, and maybe we're not the Netherlands, but we are Davis, California, and there is no one that's even close. And we keep putting down the infrastructure, and we keep doing what we can do locally so that those numbers can go even higher. That's the town you've come to, and that's the town that's proud to host the Bicycle Hall of Fame. So thanks for coming. Thanks for doing what you've done. Thanks for putting in the time. Thanks for reaching for the records, the personal best. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate it. Welcome to Davis.
Not only is his name Davis, but he walks the walk. I mean, he doesn't have a car. He literally goes to every meeting on a bike. So how great would it be if all of our elected officials did that? Davis, City of Davis, next year is 2017, 50th anniversary of the first official bike lane in the United States, Davis, 1967. The City of Davis, the only city that has a bicycle as its primary logo, turns 100 next year. And next year is also, in many people's minds, the 200th anniversary of the invention of this thing we call the bicycle. So next year will be even more celebration, and hopefully that we can have more bicycling in more communities as part of the fabric of everyday life. And that's where we are in Davis. So we have some previous Hall of Fame inductees joining us tonight. We're going to keep the lights up a little bit, so hold your applause to the end. We have 3 of them in addition to our tonight's inductees. 1997 Modern Road and Track inductee George Mount is in the house. Stand up, George, please. There he is back there, George Mount. 2006 contributor inductee Ted Ernst is in the house tonight. Came up from Southern California. Ted, where are you? He's here. I know he is. There he is. There he is. 85 years old, still riding a bike. 2008 BMX inductee Sherry Elliott. Where are you, Sherry? She's over there, right there. She's the realtor on the bicycle in Rancho Cordova, so that's how she advertises herself. So tonight's induction is our premier event, but we work on the Hall of Fame every single day around here. And several of our national board members are in the house tonight, and I'd like to have them stand up if they get a chance, and we'll save our applause to the end. Ray Cipollini came out from New Jersey. Ray's in the house, right over there. John Hess from Davis. Famous John Hess. He's here. Manny Carbajal from Davis. George Mount, step up again. He came out from Livermore. He's also the co-chair of the Nomination and Selection Committee. Those of you who are being inducted tonight, next year you get to vote on who next year's inductees are. So that's always very interesting. Daniel Leigh came out from Indianapolis. Daniel's over here on the board. Ex officio member Brody Hamilton is in the house and also the chair of this evening's event. You'll meet him in a little bit. Former Hall of Fame president Anthony Costello is joining us tonight. And I believe our former mayor, Bill Copper, are you here tonight too? Former Mayor Bill Copper is there. There he is. Okay. So anyway, we can start taking the house lights down now. So by the end of the evening, the Hall of Fame will have inducted, over 30 years, 150 inductees. And some of you may know, and I know Ted Ernst met and raced back there in Somerville, New Jersey. Pop Kugler was the very first inductee in 1987. And that's where the Hall of Fame first began. Last year, one of our inductees, Andy Taus, who's actually on the national board, he wanted to celebrate this year because it's the 30th annual induction. So he put together a special poster listing all the names and members of the Hall of Fame, including this year's. So all of the names over 30 years are on a special poster. And because Andy wanted it to be a special night, out of his own pocket, he printed up some posters, and you can leave with them tonight as a free memento of your evening. So on your way out, They'll look like this. So it has everybody's name on it from 30 years. And so as a memento tonight, and thanks to Andy Taus, last year's inductee, as a contributor to the Hall of Fame. So to be honest, the Hall of Fame this is a great night, but we're a pretty small nonprofit and run by volunteers. And you can see the passion of people here committed to preserving the past of cycling and inspiring the future of cycling. And we're just so thankful for all of our sponsors and the people who helped make tonight's induction a possibility. On each of your tables, there's some printed programs, and on the back of there, the logos of the people who helped make this event a possibility. So it's truly a small-town effort here, and we're so pleased to have you joining us. Because I know many of you have never been to Davis before. How many of you, first time in Davis? Raise your hands. Look at you. All right. Out to the left coast. All right. Well, hopefully our small-town hospitality, and this won't be the last time you get a chance to visit us. So any kind of support, we appreciate bidding on the auction items tonight. Brody will be talking a little bit. We have some online auction items that will be available through the end of November. And we want to continue telling these stories, the stories about Leigh and Steve and Robin and Mari, because we want tomorrow's kids and community members and cyclists know about how cycling has impacted how our country has developed and how cities have been built. And the opportunity for more educational outreach and interactive displays and all of those things. So anything you can do to help us out, you can go online. Those of you who are still paying taxes can take a tax-deductible write-off if you make a donation. It's on the back, usbhof.org. Be a member, volunteer, help us out, donate to our auction next year. Anything you can do is appreciated, because we've come a long way, and hopefully 30 years from now, we will have twice the number of people out here and celebrating all of the amazing stories that are to be told in this industry. So we're going to take the house lights down a little bit right now, and we're going to start with the induction with our first inductee. So tonight's first Hall of Fame inductee, and we'll have a short video to introduce him. Please welcome the introductory video for Leigh Barczewski. Leigh Barczewski, veteran road and track competitor. Originally a speed skater from West Allis, Wisconsin, Leigh Barczewski began bicycle racing when he was 14 years old. He placed fourth at the 1973 World Junior Championships in the match sprint, and also finished fourth at the U.S. Championships in 1974. In 1976, Leigh won the U.S. Olympic Trials in Northbrook, Illinois, and later competed in the 1976 Montreal Olympic Games in the 1,000-meter match sprint. In many of Leigh's races, his strongest cycling competition came from his brother Les. Racing in the tandem sprints, Leigh represented the U.S. in 2 world championships along with driver Jerry Ash. In the Munich 1978 World Championships, after a controversial crash caused by another team, Ash was injured and the tandem team finished with a silver medal, unable to continue competing for the gold. Leigh also won 4 consecutive national championships on the track in the match sprints and was a fierce competitor in the kilometer time trials. In May 1980, Leigh and Dave Grillis pedaled an aerodynamic tandem tricycle to a world record of 62.9 miles per hour at the Ontario Speedway in California. When his competitive goals were impacted by the U.S. boycott of the 1980 Summer Olympics, Barczewski retired in 1980 at the age of 24. Leigh has worked as a director of the velodrome known as Trexlertown in Pennsylvania. National champion, Olympian, and international racer, Leigh Barczewski has now become a veteran U.S. Bicycling Hall of Famer in road and track.
Thank you very much. Kind of blown away by that. That was pretty cool. I want to acknowledge a few people. My family's here. My daughter Liz, my grandson Jackson, my son Ben, my wife Jamie, my brother Mike, my brother Pat, my sister-in-law Debbie, my brother Les. Two other people who have meant a lot in my life, a friend for 40 years, Mike Malagoff, and my tandem partner, Jerry Ash. It means a lot that you guys are here. Bike racing's been very good to me. Speed skating was very good to me. Les and I grew up doing the same sports. Loved them, hate them, brother. The people who aren't here, our parents, Marie and Marion Barczewski. And without them, without their support, without their love and kindness, we wouldn't have done what we did. It's kind of funny. They drove us everywhere. As most of you in cycling know, your parents from a young age were taking you to the velodrome, were taking you in speed skating to the ice rink. And it was just, they were there all the time. I think one of their happiest moments in life, and they drove us to California, they drove us to New York, everywhere. One of the happiest moments in life was when I got my driver's license. And I could take Les and I to the rink, to the bike races, to everywhere. So, and I'm sure they were just, had some actually time to themselves at that point. But yes, bike racing's been great. It's been most of my life. As they said, I continued on after cycling and promoted the velodrome, did a lot of racing promotions. And just a few years ago, I went back to cycling and ran the velodrome in Houston for a couple of years. In a way, I see Jerry and I see Mike and I see Les, and there's so many funny, interesting stories, and we've been talking about it all weekend. I do want to thank the city of Davis. It's a gorgeous city. We've been out having some lunches and dinners and talking bike racing talk, which is all the old stories. I see Fred Markham here. I got some great Fred Markham stories. Fast Freddy, great guy. So we're all out training one day and at the track in Trexlertown. It's a windy day. Nobody wants to really train. It's a Sunday. We usually don't train on Sundays. But I was always the guy that said, you know what, let's go do it. So I said, you know what, I don't care if you guys go with me or not. I'm going to at least go out and do a sprint. So everybody decides, okay, we're going to go with you. And usually it's only 2 or 3 of us, but all 5 or 6 guys decide, you know what, we're just going to do one big sprint one time today, and we're going to be done. So I lead it out, and Jerry's behind me, and Gil Hand's behind him, and Cliff Halsey behind him, and Freddie Markham's bringing up the rear, and there's one guy, a little guy named Jimmy Alvord, and he's from the area, you know, decent bike racer, not as fast as basically the national team. So we go out, and the wind's just blowing really hard, and it's coming down the middle of the back straight. I'm just leaning over to the left, and all of a sudden, I get underneath the track. Both wheels go down on the asphalt. Bam, bam, both tires blow out. And I go down, and I'm sliding. Jerry goes down behind me. He's on the track, and Gil goes behind him, and he's on the track. Finally, Freddie Markham, the last guy on the line, is all the way to the top of the track, and Fred could ride his bike. He could handle anything. He's just crazy the way he could handle his bike. He's all the way to the top of the track, and there's a rail up there, and I didn't see it at the time, but his elbow from his wrist to his elbow is just dragging along the top of the track, and he finally goes down. So I took on the whole national team, probably a month before World Championships. But the only thing was they couldn't do anything to me because I was hurt the worst of all of them. So I'm going to stay on Fred for a second, but we're in a missing out at the track. And of course, as usual, I'm out probably first lap, maybe second. So I'm down by near the finish line, getting my stuff off and watch the race. Group goes by, and all of a sudden Fred's just on the ground, right at the finish line. He just somehow, without a noise, without a sound, just crashed and slid along the finish line. Sorry, Fred, wherever you are, I don't see you out there, but I had to tell a couple stories. So, and we talked about this just today, the stupid stuff we do for bike racing. Jerry and I are on the Olympic team and on the long team. We're living in Allentown in a little row home that they had made out into like a dormitory. So it's late in the evening, 11 o'clock at night or whatever. And Jerry goes, hey, you want to go get some ice cream? There's an ice cream store like across the street. Okay. We sneak out, get the ice cream. And then when we sneak back in and kind of tiptoe upstairs and into the room, we're going to slide into bed, light goes on. And there's Jack Symes, the Olympic team coach. He's looking at us, and you can see in his face, is like, I caught these guys. What are you guys doing? We wanted to get some ice cream. Really? Yeah, we wanted a little ice cream tonight before we went to bed. And his face falls. He's thinking, we're out drinking, we're out doing this, we're out, whatever. And finally, next time, bring back some for everybody. A couple years later, we're up in Montreal training, and Jerry and I were going pretty fast, and world-class times. We're running like an 11:0, 11:1, 11:2 in our 200-meter sprints in our training. So we're getting ready for our last sprint, and Jack comes up to us and said, if you guys goes 10:9, I'll buy you some ice cream today. Okay, ice cream? Sure, we can do that. So I lead it out, and because I was a very good lead-out rider and could really pick up the speed. And I go down, and I'm up the track, go down the track, I'm just flying. Go around the turn, and usually Jerry would catch me about halfway down the straightaway and get in front of me for the finish. And he's not coming, and I'm hurting. I'm driving the line. And I'm like, where is he? Finally, just before the line, he throws his bike and gets me. And I'm going, Jerry, where the hell were you? You jumped so hard, you gapped me by like 5 or 6 bike lengths. I chased you the whole way. So we get around and get off the track, and Jack goes, 10:9, you guys get ice cream tonight. So I did 10:9, but Jerry must have done 10:5 trying to catch me that day. One last ice cream story. We're in Venezuela. We raced the first couple days, and we had to wait for the road races before we were going back to the States. So, of course, bike racers get in trouble. No, not us, no. So we go to an ice cream shop, and everybody's getting ice cream. But you know what? I want a strawberry shake. And I don't know if it was Jerry or one of the other guys spoke enough Spanish to tell the guy, he wants an ice cream shake. Okay. So I go, making the thing. So I'm sucking down the straw, and it was a nice strawberry shake, right? But about halfway through, something comes through the straw. I didn't think there were any strawberries in this. So I take something out of my mouth to look at, throw it on the table, it's a fly. Other guys are, all gagging. So the owner comes over. I said, there's a fly in my shake. He goes, okay, well, I'll make another one. No, that's okay. So, and Jerry and I spent obviously a lot of time together when we were racing. And I met Jerry when I was 16 or 17, and we were two of the biggest guys out there on the track. We got on the tandem together in 1978. We were going fast, and we really were. It was hell getting on the bike with him. He rode very much differently than I did. The bike seemed to go in everywhere but where I wanted to go, and I was in the back, and I had to conform to his style, and it was super hard. First day we get on the bike, and it just, nothing's working, and we're doing this, we're doing that, and Jerry was used to Gil Hatton, much smaller, lighter than me. He goes, it feels like there's an anchor back there. What the hell's going on? So finally, later in the day, we go for a sprint. And, put my head down, and I just bury my head in his back, and we come around, and Jerry goes, okay. Where Gil was quick, But to the finish line, he didn't have the power. I had the power. All of a sudden, the bike, at a certain RPM, my talent kicked in, and it just flew to the line. And Jerry goes, okay, we can do this. We go to the World Championships, riding the Dutch in the semifinals. And it was just, we were a half bike length behind him, a whole full bicycle length, half tandem length behind him coming into the home straight. Relatively small track. And all I remember is looking over, and every pedal stroke, it was like this, and like this. Came by him at the finish line. The scariest moment for me on the tandem was Jerry throws his hands up in the air on a tandem going 50 miles an hour, and I'm back there going, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move. So finally he puts his hands down, and we make it through. Thank God he could handle the bike. So we do get in the finals, and we're riding against the Czechoslovakians, who were world champions several times, and I'm a bit nervous. The manager of the team is Mike Frazing, and I'm just rolling around before the race, and he comes up to me and says, "You look like shit." Like, thanks, Mike. I'm a little nervous. You know, world championships, first time. You know, I think we can win. So I'm roll over where the mechanics pumping the tires, and I look down at the pump at the gauge. It's hitting 200. And like, I don't want to see this. Most bike tires pump to 120, maybe 130. He's got these things up to 200 pounds. Like, oh man. Okay, roll back in and sit down and just forget about everything. So we're getting on, we're getting our strategy together, we're talking back and forth, and Jerry goes, well, if they pass us, if they're going to try to come around with 2 to go, we're not going to let them. So we're riding the top of the track, and the Czechs start coming around 2 to go. I get out of the saddle, I start going, and Jerry goes, just, sit down. So I sit back down. It's like, okay, what are we doing? So with 1 to go, we decide to come underneath them, and we're 3/4 way up on the Czechs, on their bike, and we're on the inside. They make a left turn, a hard left turn. The next thing I know, and I'm actually behind the back rider. Jerry is bumping, like hitting the middle, the front rider, and they just take us all the way off the track, not just to the apron, not just to the little grates at the bottom, onto the grass. And it's like, this could be a problem. I'm backing us off as hard as I can, and we're going 45, 50 miles an hour, and trying to slow it down as hard as I could. Well, nothing saved us. You saw the pictures. We crashed badly, and Jerry broke his collarbone, which is very unusual for a tandem crash. Usually the guy in the back is when he gets hurt. Well, it was Jerry. So take Jerry wearing a stretcher. I'm rolling around. Sheila Young's the manager of that team, or I don't know, the manager or whatever they call her, but she was the one negotiating the deal with the UCI for what's going to happen. Jerry's back in the medical area, getting all shot up and getting his sling on his collarbone. Every team came over congratulating me. You won the world championships. I was like, well, what do you mean? Well, every time there's a crash, every time the individual or the other team takes you down, and it's not your fault, they award the world championships to you. Well, that's cool. Well, we can do that. I'll be world champion. Well, Sheila's negotiating. She's up with and Sheila Young is in the Hall of Fame as well. Great bike racer and speed skater. And she's up there with the officials, and there's all, just talking, like, going back and forth for it seemed like an hour. It probably wasn't, probably 10 minutes. But so she comes back. Here's the proposal. You guys can share the medal, the world championships, or you can have the silver medal. And Jerry and I are talking to each other, and it's like, we didn't do anything wrong. Why do we have to give up the world championship and not have it on our own? So young Americans, the Americans hadn't done anything in years and years and years, and we said, no, we're not gonna, either we get the world championships or forget it. So we obviously awarded the silver medal, and very happy, very proud, but yeah, it should have been a gold medal, and a little sad about that. So I want to thank the city of Davis. I want to thank Mayor Davis. This has been a great couple days. It's a great city. I don't know who lives here, but it's a wonderful place. Great college town. We bought a little couple UC Davis, figured out they're the Mustangs. But this is a wonderful place. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Leigh Barczewski, everybody. We have another video. So the second inductee tonight, we'll see a video for Robin Morton coming up.
Robin Morton, contributor to the sport. Philadelphia native Robin Morton started her involvement with cycling when her husband Glenn began racing with the Pennsylvania Bicycle Club in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia in 1980. 2014 Bicycling Hall of Fame inductee Jerry Casal was the president of the club at the time, and he became Robin's mentor as she assisted with the amateur racing team and club races. Robin moved from amateur cycling to the professional ranks by organizing the Geos team for the inaugural Tour of America in 1983. In 1984, Robin organized and registered a U.S. men's professional road racing team, making Robin the first female team director in the history of professional cycling. The team, sponsored by Gianni Motta, was the first U.S. team to enter a Grand Tour, the 1984 Giro d'Italia. At the time, European cycling rules prohibited women from the race caravan. Before each race, the organizers would vote on whether Robin could even be allowed to ride in the team car. The team she put together the following year, in 1985, Xerox Benotto, was the first U.S. team to compete in the Vuelta a España, the Criterium du Dauphiné Libéré, and others. Robin managed teams for 9 years, and her professional cycling teams competed throughout Europe, North and South America. She then transitioned into event management, working with Jerry Casal and Dave Chowner at Threshold Sports for 17 years as the technical director for cycling events, which included professional national championships, UCI races, and the 1996 Atlanta Olympic and Paralympic Games. In 2005, Robin and Alice Armstrong founded G4 Productions, a women-owned event production company. They have organized races, non-profit fundraising rides, and the U.S. Professional Road Racing Championships and the U.S. Masters and Paracycling National Championships. With her extensive team and event experience at the highest levels, Robin Morton has become a groundbreaking contributor to the sport of cycling.
Robin, come on down. And here she is, Robin Morton. Congratulations. I'll just put this right here for now. Mike is yours.
Great. Well, I'm so honored to be here and to be inducted this evening with such amazing athletes that have accomplished so much in our sport, and especially my friend Mari. You know, it's been an amazing trip for me, 30 years, an adventure, something that I really never anticipated getting involved in. I'm probably the only inductee who has never raced, doesn't ride, and I'm here because I didn't like sailing. My husband, Glenn, wanted a sailboat, even though neither of us knew how to sail. And instead of taking sailing lessons or starting out with a day sailor, we bought a sailboat and headed out to sea. And as you can imagine, that didn't end well. So Glenn bought a racing bike, and he did join the Pennsylvania Bike Club. There were a lot of notable racers that came out of the PBC, including Dave Chowner and Miji Riak, who were in the Hall of Fame. Bruce Donaghy, and John Eustace. Was the winner of 1982, and I went to an end-of-the-season club party and was introduced to John. And at that time, John was one of the few Americans that had a contract on a European pro team. One of the other ones was George Mount, David Mayer Oakes, Jonathan Boyer. And so I started talking to John at the party. I was introduced to him, and he mentioned that he was pretty burned out from living in Europe and didn't have a contract for the following year and was interested in putting together an American team to race in Europe, and was I interested in helping him? So I don't know, I must have had sucker written all over me, but I said yes. And so the first team we had was for Geos for that Tour of America, which was a great event. It was a small stage race in Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C., and it was organized by Capital Sports. They were actually boxing promoters. And they brought a lot of big teams over from Europe, had a good budget. Unfortunately, it was only around for 1 year. But through Geos, I met Gianni Motta. And Gianni was an ex-pro turned bike manufacturer. For those of you who don't know him, he is a big celebrity in Italy. Blonde, blue-eyed, very outgoing. He had won the Giro, third in the Tour de France, won the Tour of Switzerland, just about every single day event in Italy, and he wanted to have an American team on his bikes in Italy. So in 1984, we put the team together. It was basically then comprised of a lot of free agent pros, some Europeans, and in April, we headed over to Italy. And it was, I was completely unprepared for all of the press and attention that I received being the first woman to manage a men's professional team. As it was said in the video that they had to vote as to whether or not I could even be in the team car, in the caravan. I don't know what I would have done if they said no, because I was already there. So I guess things would have changed and I wouldn't be here now if they had said no. But I made a lot of friends that I still have to this day, and one of those is Riccardo Magrini. Riccardo was an Italian pro. He was captain of the Metro Immobili team. He spoke English, was very funny, and he actually looked like Jerry Lewis. And that year in the Giro, Rancilio was a sponsor of the Giro. They manufacture espresso machines. And every day they would come to the stage start and bring their RV and give out free shots of espresso to everybody. So one day Riccardo says to me, hey, we want you to come and be part of the Rancilio Club. The Rancilio Club, as it was loosely called, they would allow the team captains to hang out inside the RV before the stage each morning to kind of get away from the public and, have a few minutes to themselves. So off we went, and we're sitting there, and they're all chatting away, having a good time. At least that's what I thought, because I didn't speak Italian. But so we're just hanging out, and Riccardo gets up and he says to me, well, since you're part of the Rancilio Club, and now we think of you as one of the guys, but you're missing one thing. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to give me some really great signed Maglia Rosa or some one-of-a-kind Giro memorabilia. And Riccardo stands up and he hands me a tray. Now, keeping in mind the Rancilio Club, it's all the captains of the teams like Cerrone and Moser and Vincentini and Fignon and all the big riders of the day, and me. And so he stands up and he hands me this tray and he says, this is for you. Now you'll be like us. And on the tray was an arrangement of vegetables made to look like male genitalia. So it wasn't all that spontaneous, because they actually had a photographer there taking a picture of the whole thing. So, I was really mortified. They thought it was completely hysterical, and I tried to be a good sport about it, and take it in the spirit in which it was intentioned, because the only way I would have been accepted is if I kind of just went with the flow and didn't expect them to make exceptions because I was a woman. The next year we had a team in the Vuelta, which was crazy hard, rugged race. The Vuelta was in April then. And then I managed teams for the next 6 or 7 years. Usually they had an Italian component that enabled us to race part of the season in Europe. And after that, I was really lucky that I was hired by Dave Chauner and Jerry Casale as their technical director. And I worked with a great team of people, and we put on some of the best UCI races in the country, including San Francisco, Philadelphia, Thrift Drug Classic. We did the first tour of Georgia. And now with my partner Alice and G4, we still produce the Philly race. And I'm really proud to say that it's one of the few World Tour races, only 2 in this country for women. We have equal prize money for the women, and it's the featured event of the day. And so, so I just want to leave you with this one story. In the Giro, the riders' contracts were written so that they had to finish in order to get paid, right? This is cycling, so that's not a big surprise. So they had to finish in order to get paid, and one of our sponsors didn't want to pay them. So he managed to talk one of our mechanics into tightening their bottom brackets. So every day, after they turned their bikes in to get cleaned and whatever, he would tighten their bottom brackets just a little bit more. So that by the end of the Giro, they told me, it was like pedaling in wet cement. Yeah. So, but they all finished. They all finished. And so, for me, the lesson is that, you know, cycling is just like life. Sometimes just finishing is winning. So, I thank you.
Robin Morton, everybody. I'd like to introduce the guy who put together the committee to put on this evening's event, Brody Hamilton from the Bike Hall of Fame.
Well, I want to welcome you as well as Mr. Davis and Mr. Bowen. Hope you're having a good time tonight. Are you having a good time tonight? I hope so. I'm up here to say a few thank yous. As many of you know that organize events, it takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of people and all of that. And we have a core group of individuals that work for 6 months to put this event on. And I'd like them to stand up and be acknowledged. We got Bob Bowen, John Hess in the back, Jeff Shaw over here, and Larry Swanson over here, and Kate Bowen. So, Kate, stand up, stand up. And again, the amount of time and energy put into this, not only planning it, but making this happen, doing the implementation, it's just an incredible amount of time. And I truly appreciate the fact that they come back and are willing to do it every year. So thanks, guys. It's really wonderful. You've already seen 2 of our induction videos, and I think a lot of people take those things for granted. But we have, I want to acknowledge a special acknowledgement to Bob Bowen and Jeff Shaw for putting these together. It's just to take all the information they have available and the research they have to do often, because sometimes getting the information from the inductees is like pulling teeth. So they have to do a little research on their own sometimes. But they get it all together, and the amazing thing is they get it into 2 minutes. And it's something that not only is here for your enjoyment tonight, but is here for posterity. So in the future, people are going to be able to look back at these and get a little flavor, a little taste of the inductees and what they were all about. So they will end up on our website, and also there'll be a CD for those individuals that would like that. So thanks, guys. I mean, I know how much time and energy you put into this, so a big thank you for those incredible videos, yes. A couple others. I want to thank George Mount for leading the inductee, the annual bike ride. He took folks through Davis and then beat them up, taking them into Winters, about 10 miles away, and then back again. And you didn't lose anybody, did you, George? Excellent. You tried, but no. And as Bob mentioned, we have our event sponsors shown on the back of the program, as well as those that donated items for our silent auction are noted back there, so we really appreciate that. But a couple of call-outs. The Hallmark Inn has provided 3 free rooms for the inductees and a family member for the last 8 years, so that is just fantastic. Davis Enterprise does a wonderful job of covering not only the lead up to this event, but the Hall of Fame throughout the year, so we really appreciate that, and especially Bruce Gallaudet. And also Strelitzia Flowers. Every year they provide the table settings, the floral arrangement up here, and all on the house for the Hall of Fame. So big thank you to them. And I think as Bob mentioned, this is a fundraiser. So we have silent auction back there, but we also have an online auction, and there's a little piece of paper on your tables there that indicates the link to the website for the silent auction. There are some pretty amazing rides that are on here, and one thing that is not on here is a Dixie Flyer bicycle, and it is all decked out with Shimano gear. And it's a pretty fabulous deal. We've already had one person in the room here bid on that, a nice bid, and I'm sure he's cringing at the fact that I'm announcing that it is on the website. But we'll still be friends. Anyway, we really encourage you to either go on the website and bid for something, or share this link with some folks that might like to participate in the rides, or bid on that amazing Dixie Flyer bike. And you'll be able to bid on items until December 11th. So you've got a whole 30 days to think about it. So it is going to be intermission for a few minutes, 20 minutes or so. We want you to wander about. There's still lots of food, lots of things to drink. The more you eat and drink, the less we have to take home. And please wander around with the, take a look at the silent auction items, and we'll be back in 20 minutes. Thank you.
Mari Holden, modern road and track competitor. Mari began cycling in the California town of Ojai with a club during high school as part of a fitness program for triathlon. She was named the U.S. Junior Triathlete of the Year in 1991. Mari made competitive cycling her focus in 1992 when she moved to Colorado Springs and began training with USA Cycling. After finishing 6th in the National Time Trial Championship in 1993, Holden sat out much of 1994 with an injury. She came back strong and won the U.S. Time Trial Championship in 1995 and 1996. After competing in the 1996 Olympic trials, she moved to Europe to train. In 1999, she finished in the top 10 in Le Grand Boucle Women's Grand Tour against an international field. The following year, she won a time trial silver medal in the 2000 Sydney Olympics.
Before my race, my coach, my boyfriend, came to me and just told me, Mari, you know, this is your chance. This is the Olympics. It's your opportunity to show the world what you can do. You just go as hard as you can from the gun, and you just go out there and show them how strong you are.
Followed by a victory 2 weeks later in the World Time Trial Championships in France. Mari eventually won 6 U.S. championships, becoming the first American woman to win 3 consecutive U.S. Time Trial Championships from 1998 to 2000. She scored a rare double by winning both the U.S. Time Trial and Road Championships in 1999. Since retiring in 2006, Mari has been a coach and has served on the board of USA Cycling. She is currently the director of the 2016 Ride Biker UCI Professional Women's Cycling Team and is working with the Ride for Education Scholarship Program. Mari Holden, modern road and track Hall of Famer.
and blessed. I never imagined standing here in front of you all and to be inducted on the same night as my dear friend Robin Morton is a true gift. We have seen the role of women come a long way, and we are both working very hard to take it even further. I have been lucky to ride and work with many of you, but standing here accepting this honor was never on my radar. For me, this is a sign that hard work, perseverance, and being a good person pays off. First of all, I would like to say thank you to my parents. I learned from them an intense work ethic and had constant encouragement to follow my dreams. They made me believe that I could do anything. Even though they weren't into sports back then, they didn't question me when I wanted to get a race bike and join the cycling club at school. It turns out my love of cycling grew into a family sport, and my mom has done the Hawaii Ironman twice. Still rides every day. So thanks, Mom and Dad, for my bike, for riding with me still, and being active and healthy. I look back at my cycling career in those pivotal moments, and I think those moments defined what I have accomplished by perseverance. These were moments where I knew that if I had chosen differently, my life would have been completely changed. As I mentioned, that first moment was when I decided to go for a ride on a borrowed bike with a cycling club at my school. I was 13 years old and we rode 50 miles around Lake Casitas, and I fell in love with the feeling of freedom and speed. The next big moment that I look back on now, and I laugh when I tell it, is that I told Henny Top, the national team coach at the time, that I wanted to switch from triathlon to bike racing, and how could I make the Olympic team? I was very naive, but she didn't laugh. She invited me to camp, and I basically fought my way onto the national team my first year racing, and I did the 2-week Tour de France as my third stage race. After that, the next pivotal moment for me was in '95. I had crashed badly in '94, and spent the season out, but had trained really well and had a very good early season in the US. I had full expectation to have an amazing spring European campaign, but I raced terribly. I suffered every day, spent more time chasing back on in the caravan than in the field. It was absolutely pure misery. I wanted to quit, but Dean Gollich, my coach, made a deal with me that I could quit, but not until after Nationals 2 weeks away. I decided that was a fair compromise, and so I rode for the 2 more weeks. And when I got to the national championships, I raced and won that time trial by over a minute. It was It was truly the first time in my life that I realized I could win, and it proved to me the power of trying again. In '96, I didn't get selected to the Atlanta Olympic team, and I had won both time trials at the Olympic trials. I was beyond upset, but because of the incredible support of my family, Henny Top, and Dean, I found a small German team to go and race for, and I moved to Europe so that I could become the best all-around rider I could be. This was the time before cell phones, GPS, and social media. Living in Europe was far away and isolated. I had no TV and sparse accommodations, but I kept working hard and getting better and moving to bigger teams. I definitely remember times when my phone bills home were bigger than my salary. But that was the cost of following my dreams, and my support team was solidly in my corner, believing I could do it even when I sometimes questioned it myself. My years on the Italian teams were definitely the years when I realized my decisions were paying off, and I eventually won both the road race and national time trial in '99. For me, the next pivotal moment was making the 2000 Olympic team. The stress of finally making the team was immense. I was finally in the Olympics, which for women's cycling was the most important race at the time. The chance to finally be in an event my whole family would understand, my sister, my grandparents, my cousins, aunts and uncles. I was just so afraid to let them down or let myself down. And when I finished with a medal, it was truly one of the best moments of my life. But that led into a few years of problems with my iliac artery and a finish to my career that was not how I wanted. It made me bitter, and I believe that the loss of being able to do what I loved at the level I expected was hard to handle, and I was emotionally lost. And that leads me to the next pivotal moment in my cycling career, which I consider to still be going. Meeting Barry at a charity cycling event, and I had even told the organizer prior to the event, "Why would you invite Barry Bonds? Doesn't cycling have enough issues?" But luckily for me, he did come to the event, and it reminded me to never judge a book by the cover, because his friendship and encouragement to get back involved in women's cycling has brought incredible light and growth into my life. Working with Nicola Cranmer and the 2016, now called the 2020 team, has been an incredible blessing for me. Finding my place back in women's cycling has helped me become a better person and give back to the next generation. Working with Kristen Armstrong and Chloe Dygert in this Olympic year was truly special and has brought my bitterness to rest. It has truly completed a circle. I believe that these choices have directly led me to this moment of standing before you all, being able to look back at my life, my choices, and the incredible cast of characters who have been my support network. I have been truly blessed. When I was told I would be awarded this induction, it is truly one of the highlights of my life, and I'm still in awe. So thank you.
Mari Holden, everybody. Each of the inductees tonight will be receiving a perpetual plaque that they get to keep. So at the end of this, we'll have some photos taken with the class of 2016 with their plaque and across the front here. How about those videos? Jeff Shaw's done an amazing job with the videos tonight. Literally, after all this is over with, those things will be around decades from now, so we appreciate all your work and Davis Media Access doing that. One other thing, if you happen to be in town tomorrow between 10 and 4, a brand new art museum is opening, the Shrem Museum. It's a $30 million museum on the Davis campus. World-class artists who came to start the art department at UC Davis, the Robert Arnesons and Wayne Thiebaud's, and everybody with Davis connections are in there. So 10 to 4, it's free. It's a $30 million art museum tomorrow that opens and will be open. Another attraction to bring people to Davis. And now our final inductee. A lot of people in the room have been waiting this for a long time, but I'd like to introduce the video. The final Hall of Fame inductee of this evening is Steve Larsen.
Steve Larsen, off-road competitor. Steve started cycling at 13 while growing up in Davis, California, and went on to become a world-class competitor in road racing, mountain biking, cyclocross, Xterra, and triathlons. Steve Larsen is the only American to have ridden in the World Championships in 5 different cycling disciplines: road, mountain bike, track, triathlon, and cyclocross. He won bronze in his first cyclocross in 1986 at the Junior National Championships in Santa Cruz, California. Larsen competed in road racing with the Junior National Team program in Europe before moving up to the Amateur World Championships with the U.S. team. He went on to compete on the road as a member of the Motorola professional team in 1993 and 94. Transitioning to mountain bike racing, he won the Norba National Cross Country Mountain Bike Champion title in 1998 and again in 2000. Steve also competed in triathlons and finished 9th overall in the 2001 Ironman in Hawaii. He retired from racing in 2003. For a while, Steve owned and operated the Wheelworks Bicycle Shop in Davis, California, while supporting the local Mad Cows Triathlon racing team. He was known for his friendly support of anyone who biked, from novices to professionals. Steve and his family relocated to Bend, Oregon, where he started a successful real estate firm. Steve passed away unexpectedly in 2009 at the age of 39. A permanent artistic arch entitled Spirit Rider was erected in his memory in 2013 at Davis Senior High School. Steve Larsen, off-road competitor and U.S. Bicycling Hall of Famer.
Sad news tonight. Bend and the worldwide cycling community have lost a leader.
The husband and father of 5 competed all over the world in mountain biking, Ironman triathlons, and bicycle races with such top names as Lance Armstrong and Levi Leipheimer. His friends are devastated but want the community to know just how influential he was. Larsen first started as a mountain bike racer, winning titles and covers and training others. After marrying high school sweetheart Carrie, he moved on to road races and competed alongside Lance Armstrong. He moved to Bend and started triathlons, finishing strong in the most grueling of them all, Ironman Kona.
Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind.
But everyone says it's his love of his 5 kids, the youngest, twin 2-year-olds, that was his biggest achievement.
High above the chimney top.
Classic piece of cycling history. My first article for my cycling career. This was young upstart 16-year-old. This is my national championship jersey from 1997, my first professional mountain bike championship.
Dreams that you dare to, why, oh why can't
And now accepting on behalf of the Larsen family, his good friend, Stephen Nyberg.
Thank you. I think y'all kind of got ripped off a little bit. I'm following up on Mari Holden, following her up with an age group triathlete. So I think they had me go last so you wouldn't ask for a refund on your tickets. So appropriate that we're in Davis, where Steve got his start. As the video mentioned, he loved to race bikes no matter what it was. Cyclocross, road, mountain bike, it didn't matter. In fact, it mentioned that he was the only American to ever compete in world championships and all of those events. So when he was nominated, I had to ask what sport it was for. I knew it wasn't BMX, but could have fit in any other of those categories. But again, being in Davis, I know the Davis community is so supportive. Hear so many stories. He got started when someone gave him a bike to race, which is such a great thing. And when his mom couldn't get him to races, they would drive him to races, give him a hotel room floor to sleep on, whatever it took to get to the race. So when he came back, bike shop owner, now the cycling plaza, so Davis has been really good, and as it was noted, great bike town. So thank you to Davis. Hear a lot of stories from Steve about his career, thinking about, this, then the U.S. team. I think that was a really neat time for him as a teenager, just being a rock star, traveling the country, and probably felt like a rock star sleeping on hotel floors. But just traveling around with your buddies, having a great time and racing bikes. And that's what it's all about. And as juniors, they were doing that and having a great time. Of course, it turned into the Motorola contract. And that's really where he became a professional and really learned. Max Test, a big influence in his life there. But how to train like a pro, dress like a pro, eat like a pro, just do everything like a pro. And that was a big time of his life. Rode with some great guys on the Motorola team. As you know, it's a big organization. Really the start of U.S. cycling in a big way like that. And the story is about, riding with Andy in a Grand Tour. And he loved riding in Grand Tours, loved riding with Andy, but Steve liked to race for himself, of course. So, filled his jersey up, 10, 12 water bottles from the back of the car, have to get back up to the pack, through the pack, up to the front. Andy, here's the water. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So, a little frustrating at times. And a team like that, you hear about the big stories. Lance winning the Worlds in Norway, had flat late in the race, had to come back to get into the field to even win the race. In pouring rain, downpour, made it back to the pack, and everyone talks about Lance winning. No one talks about the teammate that drug his rear end back up to the pack. So, Steve knew it was time for a change, so him and Carrie, they literally loaded the espresso machine up in the backpack, hopped on a plane. It was time for a change and came back to the States. And that was a bit, of a shocker, I think, to a lot of people to give up that pro, Euro pro illustrious sort of career for the mountain bike scene. Now remember, mountain biking at the time, fairly early still, very known for its laid-back vibe. They didn't like the roadie thing. No offense to the roadies, but it was a very laid-back thing, Marin County, that whole thing. So here comes Steve, Euro pro, doing all this stuff. Think Vincenzo Nibali with fashion, Marcel Kittel with the hair, okay? So, very put-together guy, and he comes onto the off-road scene, which is very laid-back, and he caught a lot of grief for that. He would come with his level, leveling the saddle and the tape measure, and people did not take kindly to this at first, but they soon learned they had to either get on the program or get beat. So he really changed the face of the sport, and in terms of sponsorship too, everyone up to their game. So he wasn't afraid to take risks, went off on his own with the LL Bean Mongoose team, started his own team without an industry sponsor, which was very big at that time. And this is leading up to the Olympics, and I think the real game changer was that Olympics and not making that Olympic team. And if you don't know the story, he didn't qualify automatically that year. Every time in a World Cup that he was there in automatic qualifying spot, he would flat or have a mechanical. Always pushing the limit with tires and tire pressure and just never qualified automatically. So came down to a coach's selection. Coach chose him, but the nominating committee overrode that and put 2 other people on the team. So he was more than a little upset. Showed up at Deer Valley. I was actually in a sales meeting and the cross-country race was going on. And at the end of the sales meeting, worked for one of the magazines and, got back to the race venue. What's going on? Oh, Steve's killing him. He's crushing him. He's up at the front. He's got these guys. And so I was really excited. Went to the finish line. Steve comes across the line. Big. Everyone's super excited because he's just absolutely crushed them. Comes across the line, just picks his bike up. Screaming, just this ferocious sort of primal scream. Pulls off his helmet. He has shaved his head bald. So he is bald with dirt and dust and screaming, and needless to say, we gave him a very wide berth that day. Just, whoa, we'll catch up with you later. So that was a real pivotal time for him, and it was ready for another change. And we know the triathlon story. Now, triathlon, only a third of the race is bike, so we won't talk about it very much, since it's not really a bike thing. But as you know, when he started the triathlon thing, he raced it the same way that he did as the bike. Well, not totally true because he swam like a cyclist, so he would come out of the water late. But then it's just full gas, and that's the way he taught us to ride, was just, go, and it was full gas. So he made it to Hawaii that year, came out of the water very late, proceeded to blow through the field, took the lead in going out of T2 and led the thing for 10 miles into the run before reality set in. So, it just totally changed the game because it wasn't a cycling race. It was really more of a running race for those guys. And so for him to blow through the field, they got a little bit afraid, and everyone raced a little different from then on. And so that was just kind of the way he raced. So after our retirement, I did have the opportunity to work with him on the commercial real estate side, and we even started a small triathlon company with our wives. And his approach to business was the same way. You know, it was dedicated, determined. He was going to work harder than anybody else. And you have to have confidence in yourself. And boy, did that guy have confidence in himself. So, as my relationship is only a small part of his cycling life, only about 15 or 20 years, but I'll tell you what I learned from him. Love to share his experience with cycling to make people better. We had a little pre-function, and everyone echoed that sentiment. He just always wanted to make people better. He didn't show up at the group ride to crush you. He showed up at the group ride to make you better, and he would go just hard enough that you dangled off just at the limit, because that was going to make you stronger. So if you'd get in a break with him, he would let you hang on as long as you could, screaming at you the whole time, "Don't lose the wheel!" So he just wanted to make everybody better and inspire you to do more. Whether it be, we would do trainer sessions in garages long before spinning classes were ever popular. He would talk people into, doing triathlons. I was a bike racer, and he got me doing triathlons. I know there's some triathletes out here who did Ironman races. So he was that kind of guy who would motivate you, and a great salesperson too, because he could get those guys to do triathlon. He wanted to give back to the sport. He got so much help as a junior, and he wanted to do the same thing with LL Bean. We had a junior team. And outfitted the kids like pros. Every bike was exactly the same as his. The kits were the same. The kids wore the right socks to the races, the same. It was full pro, and he really wanted to give back to those kids in that way. And then later on in commercial real estate, another junior team that we have. In fact, one of our team members from back then is here, kind of a mentor program. So he loved cycling. He loved getting people involved, not just the racers, even if it was just for someone to be able to come down and ride around the wine country or do a trip in Europe or whatever it was. He loved cycling and loved to get people involved with that. Dedicated, determined, smart. One of the smartest guys I know. And he loved his family. You saw that with this video. But it was really cool as we were looking forward to him getting older and slower. But it was very cool to see how his life changed in group rides, took back seats to kids' soccer games. And, maybe instead of racing for himself, he would put Amelie on the back of a tandem and they'd do a mountain bike race. Or, maybe just, for times he wasn't riding at all because he took up snowboarding, to hang out with the kids and be able to spend time on the mountain and snowboard. I know he would have loved to learn to ride downhill bikes with Massimo. I am certain that he would have been hurt trying to stay up with Massimo, but he would have enjoyed that a lot and just being able to spend that time with him. So thank you for the award. That's just one little glimpse of the guy that has been honored tonight.
So we're going to have two of Steve's children who have a chance to be with us tonight when we gather with all the inductees and hold the plaques and take some photos. But so many stories, and we appreciate you being here for us to share that and help the support of the Hall of Fame so we continue telling the stories of the people that have made cycling part of what it is in this country. And so those of you who have bid on auction items, you'll be able to check on them out here and settle up and take them home with you. Those that weren't sold will be sold at the minimum bid at this point. So if you want it and it didn't get anybody bidding on it, you can take it home for the minimum bid. And you can settle up right out here in the lobby. So that is the conclusion of this evening's induction. We will have a group photo here coming up and then socialize until we throw you out of here. So thank you so much for your support and being here and helping us tell these stories. And we'll see you again next time. Thank you, everybody. Good night.